Now we're going to compute the variances over here of the variances. And we had two variances, if you remember, cost variance and schedule variance. First is the cost variance. Now cost variance is equal to your earned value minus your actual cost. Here you're trying to define what is the deviation from the cost which are supposed to be incurred for 10% versus the cost incurred actually for 10%. So that's going to be equal to 100,000 minus $120,000. That's equal to a negative $20,000, right? So this is how you come to know what is the status of the project in terms of cost. In terms of cost, they have already exceeded 20,000, overspent 20,000 compared to the planned amount. Now we're going to go for the scheduled variance. That is equal to your earned value minus your planned value. So now you're going to go for earned value minus planned value. That is equal to $100,000. What does this means is that in terms of the schedule, you are supposed to incur an expense of $200,000 till date by completing 20% of the contract. But till now, you only completed 10% of the contract whose standard cost is $100,000. So in terms of the schedule variance, you're lagging behind literally half of the value which are supposed to be accomplished. The costs which are supposed to be incurred till now is only half of what has been done till now. So these are the two important variances for the earned value analysis. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the theoretical part because there's some more which needs to be understood, and that is efficiency indicators for the earned value analysis. Till now we just seen what is the difference, but okay, we are lagging in terms of cost. We are 20,000, we have spent extra 20,000. In terms of the schedule variance, we are $100,000 behind the expenses as compared to the original plan. How do you define it? How do you derive a useful meaning out of that thing? And that is done by this efficiency indicators, which is cost performance index and the schedule performance index. Let's look at an example, and also along the example we're going to understand what is meant by this variance index, efficiency variances. This cost variance and the schedule variance, they can be converted to the efficiency indicators to reflect the cost and schedule performance of the project. So firstly, it's going to be, we're going to start with a fresh over here, efficiency indicators. First, we're going to study the CPI, that is cost performance index. Okay, cost performance index is equal to earned value divided by the actual cost over here. So what does the cost performance index indicates? It indicates that what is the efficiency with which the costs are being incurred to complete the project. Okay, the CPI is known as generally to enable the entity to forecast the cost to complete the project, and the schedule performance index SPI is equal to your earned value divided by your planned value. And the schedule performance index enables the entity to indicate by what time is the company behind its schedule, by when will it complete the project, what is the expected time to complete the project. We're going to understand this thing in more depth with the help of continuing the example from the previous session from here itself. Over here, a cost performance index is equal to earned value, that is $100,000, divided by the actual cost, that is $120,000. Okay, that is equal to 83333. Okay, that's equal to 0.83. Okay, similarly we can interpret a compute for the schedule value, that's going to be somewhere like 100,000 divided by 200,000, so that is equal to 0.5. Okay, now how do you derive the meaning from these two indices, these two efficiency indicators? Over here, the cost performance index, this means that for every $1 spent by the company, every $1 spent, the project is producing output worth only 83 cents. Okay, so here for every dollar the company is spending, the project is only producing an output of 83% compared to the every dollar spent. So to complete the project, which was for let's say $100,000, $1,000,000, right? You're gonna need an additional amount to fulfill this project. Okay, so that's gonna be how. Let's compute it easily. It's gonna be 1 million divided by 0.83. That's gonna be, you're gonna need an amount of $1.2,004,819 to reach the milestone, to reach the project cost of, to cover the project cost of $100,000, $1 million. And how do you cross check the answer? It's simple enough. You just take this amount and multiply it by 83 cents. Okay, here you have a $1 million. Okay, so that means you're gonna overshoot the project cost by $204,819. That's what the cost performance index means, and that's what we had told in the initial step, that this cost performance index CPI enables the entity to forecast how much cost will it incur to complete the project till its ends. Okay, similarly we can interpret the SPI, that is the schedule performance index. Now the schedule performance index is at 0.5 here. This means that for every hour spent on the project, it is generating an productive output of only 0.5 hours, that is worth 30 minutes. Okay, so this means that for every hour of work the company is paying up, they are only able to recover and time, in terms of time, only 30 minutes of work for every 1 hour of work. Okay, for every $1 they're going to be able to recover only 50% of the value of that 1 hour, $1. That is how you estimate the schedule performance index, how much behind are you delivering. Okay, to precise, please say, you can say that the project is running 50% behind its scheduled targets. Okay, that's how the schedule performance index is measured, and it can also be verified by the very fact that entity had to reach a 20% milestone at the end of the first month, but it had only reached a 10% milestone, only completed 10%. That's a clear indicator that the project was only 50% completed till the first month, and that's also validated by this SPI, schedule performance index. So that was all, guys, with regard to the earned value analysis. Make sure you understand this concept very thoroughly, because as a manager, as an ongoing project, you are liable to answer all this question. Why is the project behind schedule? Why is the cost being incurred extra? Where is it that your estimates have gone wrong? How do you improvise on that? Will it take care itself in the future that initial phase pay cost incurred was more compared to the later phase of the project? Will the delay in the time schedules be coped up, or will it need to be dropped down? Will you need additional resources? There are many questions which can come up, but if you have a thorough knowledge of this earned value analysis, that is how to evaluate a project on an ongoing basis, an existing project, you can be sure that you're going to have a sufficient timeline to save yourself, your project, and your reputation also, guys. That was all with regard to the earned value analysis.